Secretary for Foreign Affairs and International Trade, and co-chair of the Senior Officials Meeting of Zimbabwe South Africa Binational Commission, Ambassador J. Manzo, Ambassador of the Republic of South Africa to Zimbabwe, Your Excellency Emen Mbeta, Ambassador of the Republic of Zimbabwe to South Africa, Your Excellency Mr. D. Hamaziripi, sectoral co-chairs here present, senior officials from South Africa and Zimbabwe, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I warmly welcome all of you to the senior officials meeting of the third session of the Zimbabwe South African Binational Commission. Without further ado, may I kindly request Ambassador Manzo, please to come forward and give your opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Director of Ceremonies. The Director General in the Department of International Relations and Cooperation of the Republic of South Africa, Mr. Khabo Mawai. The Ambassador of South Africa to the Republic of Zimbabwe, Ambassador M.N. Mbete. The Ambassador of Zimbabwe to the Republic of South Africa, Ambassador David Hamaziripi. Permanent secretaries from both sides here present, members of the Zimbabwe and South Africa delegations, a very good morning to all of you. It is my privilege and honor to extend a warm welcome to our South African sisters and brothers to this segment of the third session of the Zimbabwe-South Africa Binational Commission. It is my hope that you have settled comfortably in Harare, your home away from home. Do not hesitate to let us know if there is anything we can do to make your stay more memorable. I'm delighted that we have managed to convene this meeting in the first quarter of the year, albeit a few months later than originally scheduled. I regret that we were unable to hold the midterm review due to the scheduling challenges that we faced. I hope that we will schedule the next midterm review well ahead of time so that we do not again fail to hold the important review and planning meeting. Co-chair, today and tomorrow, we will have intensive discussions on the program of cooperation that our two countries have agreed upon. We will not only assess the state of implementation of programs, but we will also come up with proposals for new areas for cooperation for consideration by our principals. I therefore look forward to a comprehensive, constructive, purposeful 2 days of meetings, which will lay the groundwork for the ministerial session that will culminate in the presentation of our efforts to our principals. Our leaders have repeatedly pronounced their shared desire to successfully lead our two countries to prosperity. It is imperative as officials that we deliver tangible results for the mutual benefit of the citizens of our two countries. In the context of our bilateral cooperation, this calls for our concerted efforts in the implementation of decisions made by the Binational Commission. A review of the status of implementation of the decisions taken at and prior this session of the BNC reveals that we can do a much better job than we have done so far. Let us at this session agree to a time-bound program of action which we can commit to adhere to. Co-chair, the success of our cooperation will not be measured by the number of agreements we sign or the number of decisions that we take. It will be measured by the action we take and the concrete results that are attributed to it. This means implementation of these agreements and decisions. I therefore appeal to all of us present here today to henceforth make implementation, and more implementation the motto of our Binational Commission. At the second session, and motivated by a desire to give an impetus to the implementation of agreed projects, we agreed on an implementation matrix as a useful tool for monitoring and tracking progress, or lack of it, in the implementation of B&C decisions. We have so far not fully operationalized the implementation matrix. I call on both our countries to operationalize this matrix as from the closure of this session next week. Co-Chair, our countries face similar as well as different economic challenges. This compels us to cooperate as we seek to transform our economies on the back of accelerated industrial development, so as to create wealth, employment, and efficient service delivery for the benefit of our people. Presently, we have signed 45 memoranda and agreements between us. This number will obviously increase as a result of the work done during this B&C. These agreements, among other things, serve as a signal to and a catalyst for joint projects between our other partners in the strategic relationship. These are our public and private sectors. Our role as government is to create an enabling environment for the private sector to carry out its business. I would like to invite the private sectors of both our countries to establish a forum for regular interactions among themselves in pursuance of the bilateral cooperation agenda. The private sector is an indispensable partner and contributor to the success of our economic cooperation. Co-Chair, it will be remiss of me not to acknowledge and commend the progress made in some of the areas of our cooperation. Our colleagues in the tourism sector have maintained regular contacts and cooperation through the meeting of the Joint Tourism Technical Committee. Exchange of benchmarking visits and participation in each other's promotion activities have also been undertaken. The security sector is also exemplary in its diligence. Let us all take a leaf from the excellent examples, from these excellent examples indeed, and create some positive competition among ourselves and outdo each other in contributing to the success of our cooperation programs. Co-Chair, distinguished delegates, we have an extensive agenda before us to deal with today and tomorrow. We therefore need to get down to business without much ado. Once again, a hearty welcome to our brothers and sisters from across the Limpopo. We are one. Sibang, I didn't check on this one. I needed to check before I say it. And together we can achieve more. I wish all of you fruitful deliberations. I thank you.
Ambassador Manzo, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Your Excellency Ambassador Mbete, our ambassador to Zimbabwe, Your Excellency Ambassador David Hamadziribi, our homeboy, ambassador to the Republic of South Africa, sectoral committees chairs, senior officials from our respective governments, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Mangwanani. On behalf of the delegation of the Republic of South Africa, I would like to thank you, our host, to the warm welcome and hospitality extended to us since our arrival. We did not want to wake up, for we enjoyed peace. The quality of your hospitality has proven that our eagerness to foster warm relations with the Republic of Zimbabwe is as equally important to you as a neighbor and as a fellow SADC family country. This hospitality is further a sign of cordial relations which exist between our two beloved countries even before formal relations were established during our region's struggle for freedom and liberation. I also wish to thank you, PS, for your profound words in the opening remarks, and to express our gratitude to the government and the people of the Republic of Zimbabwe for honoring Article 6 of the Binational Commission Agreement signed in April 2015 by hosting this meeting. I must hasten to remind you and all and sundry here that we are yet to draw up our own rules of procedure in terms of the same agreement that we should live by and work according to. Owing to our cordial relationships and despite a tight schedule from both sides, our principals deemed it fit and important to have a meeting of this magnitude now rather than later. There will be no further excuse for us not to honor this commitment as it is part of our agreement. P.S. We are meeting for the first time since your appointment as the new permanent secretary, I believe, of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade in 2018, I believe. I feel it is still relevant and appropriate to use this opportunity to express my heartfelt congratulations to you for your appointment to this important position. And we will drive these senior officials from this level without any fail, no excuses, for we need to make sure that it bears the fruits for which it was intended. In the same vein, I look forward to working with you in deepening the relations between South Africa and Zimbabwe, particularly in fulfilling the aims and objectives of the Binational Commission. I must indicate that this is the first BNC that we are honoring since the presidency of President Ramaphosa. And it is going to be a trendsetter, and it is going to be the foundation for us, even with others that we might have. This is how much we took you seriously and ensured that we started here at home. And then we believe that in the same vein, we will embark upon a process to ensure that these structured bilateral mechanisms are indeed the lifeblood of our work, and they will enhance our relationships and produce fruits that will be born and be enjoyed by our respective citizens. It is our firm belief that a bilateral partnership within the framework of the Binational Commission will bring tangible mutual benefits to our respective countries as we address our developmental challenges. Co-chair, in the next 2 days, we have to ascertain if we heeded the call of fulfilling the implementation of the outcomes of the first and the second sessions of the BNC. It is in this context that we had to make an assessment on the implementation of the agreements and concluded that the movement in implementing this actually need to be enhanced. We take note of the fact that in our tourism sector, in our defense and security sector, we are doing quite well. We just have to take leave from there and make sure that we live up to our undertakings. Notwithstanding, we have witnessed meaningful interactions, as I alluded here, between our government departments and you as our counterparts, and some of them, of course, were conducted through our respective departments of foreign affairs and/or international relations, and others were made through direct contact between our two countries. But I believe, as we will be concluding these senior officials, would have developed a modality to track and ensure that we monitor progress and have tangible implementation plans, so that when we meet, we only look at what we have done and what is the impact, etc., rather than, as you said, count the number of MOUs and agreements, but rather look at the deliverables in each, because this is the only way we can be relevant. Co-Chair, these interactions necessitate us to accept your invitation without hesitation in order to consolidate the work done on both sides, as we had the reassurance that despite economic challenges faced by our two countries, our commitments remains unwavering and need action rather than words. We will be assessed in terms of our action, not in terms of what we say. So our relationship with Zimbabwe covers a wide scope of fields, sum up in what you said, and I believe it is true, 45 bilateral agreements. If the number of agreements meant impact, we could not even have to be here. But we have to match this quantity with quality and ensure that, as we say, we really have progress in many of the undertakings we made. I believe these agreements cover the fact that, including those that pre-existed our two republics and our pre-liberation time. And then when you add them to our post-liberation times, initially yours and thereafter ours, it will look like we have had a long way. And yet, if you check, this has not really translated in good work that we can be proud of. We have noted that we have not yet reached the level of implementation that we actually needed to reach. And this senior officials meeting will be the first in which we will focus on ensuring that whatever we say here, whatever we write in our papers, should mean business and should mean what that wish will be measured and that wish we can be proud about. Based on our geographic proximity with you and the importance of our bilateral relations, there is an urgent need to accelerate the implementation of our agreements or MOUs. In this regard, I'm accompanied by very able senior officials, and some are still coming at very senior level to ensure that this becomes a very successful venture between ourselves. So if we are to ensure that our Binational Commission is a living mechanism for bilateral relations, we need to make sure that it is going to be workable and it will be implementable. We need to continue holding the BNCs, as I said and alluded to earlier, in accordance with the establishment of this mechanism. Fellow delegates, before I conclude, it will be remiss of me if I did not re-emphasize and categorically underscore our key objective in these 2 days to table a report that should entail deliverables that are realistic, achievable, time-bound, and with the potential to impact on the livelihoods of our people. We cannot afford to have deliberations that come up with unrealistic wish lists that are nice to have but take us nowhere. We are under pressure to deliver on the decisions and targets we have set for ourselves, and to do so we deserved an urgency since we do not have the luxury of time. We have a massive task ahead of us, colleagues. We need to use this senior officials meeting to lay a foundation for our ministers' meetings and subsequently the meeting of our principals, the heads of state. It is my firm belief that participants in various sectoral committees, by the way, our agreement calls them sectoral committees, and I believe there are 4. They are not just committees, they are sectoral committees. We must emphasize, we must start to live by the language of what we agreed about, because it is that which we can look at and say, are we on track of what we said, or do we need to tweak something here and there? As I said, it is my firm belief that we have to apply our skills, knowledge base, and expertise to find effective and efficient ways of deepening our bilateral relations. And we look forward to compiling and presenting our recommendations and views in a comprehensive report that will be tabled to our ministers on Monday. In this regard, we look forward to fruitful deliberations in preparation for the ministerial and heads of state meetings over the course of the next few days. Co-Chair, allow me, I'm not here to give a speech, a keynote address, but allow me to reiterate our country's commitment to working with the government and the people of Zimbabwe to brave the challenges and meet it, amongst others, by climate change and exogenous factors. I won't mention them. You know them. They are mostly exogenous, but they have a fertile ground on us by means of their nature, and therefore we need to be very, very vigilant to ensure that we are alive to the task and we do as much as we can, and that we can only work together through mutual support so that we can turn the tide. I thank you very much.